The stars stretched endlessly across the black void, distant and cold. Among them drifted a small Xeron cargo vessel. Silent, except for the faint hum of dying machinery. Its engines were dark, life support was failing, and the crew felt the weight of hopelessness pressing down like gravity in a heavy storm. Captain Zyron, a tall, slender Zyron with gray-green skin and piercing violet eyes, leaned over the console. The displays flickered weakly. "Status report," he said. His voice strained. Lieutenant Vesh, his youngest officer, glanced nervously at the readings. "Engines. Offline. Life support, at 20%. Communications are dead. We are drifting, Captain. There is no way to call for help." A shiver passed through the small crew. The Xerans were a proud and disciplined species. But in moments like this, pride meant little. The void was merciless, and it cared nothing for rituals, hierarchy, or intelligence. Captain Zyron's eyes scanned the stars outside the window. Somewhere out there, he hoped, a solution existed. Somewhere. Someone would see them before it was too late. Days had passed since the meteor storm. The ship had been carrying vital minerals from the mining colonies on the outer moons of Rilna when a sudden field of space debris had struck them. Systems had failed, one by one. The once proud ship now floated like a wounded animal. The crew tried to stay calm, but despair crept silently. Food and water supplies were limited, and the temperature in the cabins dropped as the heating systems faltered. Even the usual chatter of the Xerans, the soft clicking of their tongues, the hum of conversation was gone, replaced by long, tense silences. Lieutenant Vesh broke the quiet. "Captain, sensors are picking up something. Faint. I don't know what it is." Zyran turned sharply. His eyes widened. "A ship? Here? In this sector?" Vesh shook his head. I don't know. It's a small signature, moving slowly. Could be a probe. Or maybe someone coming to help." For the first time in days, a spark of hope ignited in Zyron's chest. "Plot a course toward it. Slowly. We cannot risk collision." The crew obeyed, though fear lingered like a shadow. Hours passed, and the signal grew slightly stronger, confirming that whatever it was real and approaching. Then came the moment that would change everything. A sleek ship appeared on the horizon, its silhouette bright against the starlight. Unlike the Xeran ship, it was clean, sharp, and efficient in design. It moved with purpose, scanning the drifting cargo vessel with a calm and deliberate precision. The Xerans exchanged anxious glances. Who are they?" Vesh whispered. Captain Zyron's voice was steady, but his heart raced. "I do not know. Keep your weapons ready, just in case. But they do not seem hostile." The unknown ship aligned itself with the Xeran vessel. Lights blinked in sequence, and then, without warning, a small docking pod separated from the main ship and floated toward them. Zyran and the crew held their breath. The pod's hatch opened, and figures in strange suits emerged. They moved carefully, deliberately. Showing no signs of aggression, one of the humans stepped forward. He was taller than most Xerans, with broad shoulders and a calm expression. In his hands, he carried tools. Repair tools, not weapons. "Greetings," he said in perfect translation. "We detected your distress signal. We are here to help." The Xerans stared, unsure whether to respond. They had never encountered another species in this sector, let alone one that offered help so openly. Trust did not come easily to the Xerans, and yet, something in the humans' manner, their steady movements, and confident but non-threatening tone, felt right. Captain Zyron took a deep breath. "I am Captain Zyron of the cargo vessel Luminara. Our engines are dead. Life support is failing. Thank you for coming." The human nodded. "We are trained for situations like this. Let's get you stabilized." Over the next several hours, the humans worked efficiently, assessing the damage and making careful repairs. Their methods were unfamiliar to the Xerans' tools they had never seen. sequences of checks and balances that seemed oddly creative. But the results were undeniable. Life support stabilized. The engines sparked weakly back to life. Slowly, hope returned to the Xeron crew. Lieutenant Vesh watched in awe as one human crew member improvised a replacement for a broken oxygen pump using spare tubing and energy cells. How did they even think of that? He whispered to Xiron. They think differently than we do, Xiron replied. He felt a mixture of admiration and disbelief. They are remarkable. Even as repairs continued, the Xerons struggled with the unfamiliarity of human behavior. They were direct, practical, and often humorous in ways that felt strange but comforting. One human offered the crew food something warm and unfamiliar in taste. The Xerons were hesitant. But eventually, hunger and curiosity overcame caution. They tasted the food and found it nourishing, even enjoyable. Hours turned into a full day. And still, the humans worked tirelessly, repairing systems and monitoring the drifting ship. The Xerons had never experienced such unwavering commitment to life itself. Where they might have panicked, argued, or retreated into ritual, the humans acted quickly, decisively, without fear. Then the unexpected happened. As the Xeron crew began to relax, a faint tremor shook the Luminara. A small asteroid cluster had emerged from the darkness, moving in a path that threatened both ships. Captain Xiron's heart sank. "We are not ready for this," he said. The humans did not hesitate. "Brace yourselves," the lead human called. "We'll get through this together." Using quick calculations and split-second decisions, the humans adjusted both ships' positions, activating shields and emergency thrusters in perfect synchronization. Debris passed dangerously close, yet neither ship was hit. The Xerons could only watch, their eyes wide with amazement, as the humans executed maneuvers that seemed impossible. When the danger had passed, the human captain turned to Xiron and smiled. "We're not done yet, but you're safe for now." Xeron could not find words. The fear, exhaustion, and despair of the last days melted away, replaced by awe and gratitude. I do not know how to repay you," he said finally. The human shook his head. "No repayment needed. Saving lives is enough. That is all that matters." For the first time, the Xerons felt the vastness of space differently. No longer was it only cold and merciless. Out there, among the stars, they saw a spark of courage, ingenuity, and compassion that could not be extinguished. And yet, even as hope returned, Captain Xiron sensed that this encounter was only the beginning. Something larger, unknown, was out there. The human ship had appeared just in time, but the universe was vast, full of dangers and mysteries that neither Xeron nor human fully understood. As the two ships drifted together in the silent void, the Xerons watched the humans' calm, deliberate work. They repaired, they analyzed, they prepared not for glory, not for reward, but simply to preserve life. Xiron turned to his crew. "Remember this. This is what courage looks like. This is what it means to fight against the void." Lieutenant Vesh nodded, a newfound determination in his eyes. We can survive. Because of them, the stars outside continued to shine, endless and indifferent. But for the Xerons aboard the Luminara, the void was no longer empty. Somewhere out there, humans moved through space with a strength of spirit the Xerons had never known, brilliant, unyielding, and alive. And in that moment, drifting among the stars, Captain Xiron allowed himself to hope. For the first time in many days, he felt that the silence of space could be broken, and that life strange, resilient, and courageous was waiting beyond the darkness. The Luminara floated side by side with the human ship, its engines humming weakly as emergency systems stabilized. The Xeron crew watched in awe as the humans moved calmly through the corridors of their sleek vessel. Everything seemed so organized, so purposeful. Every tool, every device, every action had meaning, and yet nothing felt rigid or overbearing. Lieutenant Vesh studied the humans closely. They were larger than the Zirans, their skin pale, their features simple but expressive. Yet it wasn't just their appearance that fascinated him, it was the way they thought, acted, and moved. There was confidence in every decision, but it was paired with care, humor, and patience. Captain Zyron approached the lead human. "You have saved our lives," he said, voice still tinged with disbelief. "I have never seen such effectiveness. We are not accustomed to such methods." The human smiled. "We do not consider it remarkable. We do what must be done. Life is precious, that is all." Ziran considered this. The Zirans believed in skill, hierarchy, and tradition, but life itself was often secondary to protocol. Humans seemed different. They acted first, thought second, and yet nothing went wrong. There was a strange harmony in their methods. "May we observe your procedures?" Zyron asked. "Perhaps we can learn from them. Perhaps we can adapt some of your methods to our ship." The human captain nodded. "Of course, we can teach, and perhaps we can learn from you, too. Cooperation benefits everyone." The next several hours passed in a blur of activity. Humans checked the Ziran ship systems, ran diagnostics, and made small repairs while explaining their reasoning step by step. They did not demand respect, they earned it through skill and action. One human crew member, a woman with short, dark hair, worked alongside Vesh on the oxygen system. She moved with precision, carefully aligning parts and adjusting connections. "These systems are old," she said, "but we can patch them. You'll have oxygen for the journey." Vesh watched her hands. He had never seen such calm focus. How do you think so clearly in such situations?" he asked. She laughed softly. "We practice. And we care. When people's lives depend on you, you learn quickly." The Zirans did not laugh often. Humor was rare, reserved for safe moments. But Vesh found himself smiling. There was something infectious about their optimism, even in the face of danger. Meanwhile, Captain Zyron and the human captain walked the narrow corridor between the ships. "Your species. It is unusual," Zyron said carefully. "You act boldly, yet never recklessly. You make decisions that risk nothing yet solve everything." The human considered this. "We act for survival, not glory. We solve problems because we must. That is how we survive in a dangerous universe. Perhaps it seems unusual to you, but it is necessary to us." Zyron nodded slowly. He realized how much the Zirans had taken for granted: their protocols, their hierarchy, their fear of the unknown. Humans acted differently. They embraced the unknown and used it to their advantage. Back on the Ziran ship, the crew began to open up. Humans offered warm food, strange in taste but nourishing, and shared small comforts that seemed almost alien in their simplicity. Zirans hesitated at first, unsure of the intentions behind such gestures, but hunger and curiosity won over. And soon the crew ate, laughed softly, and even shared small stories of their own culture. The human crew listened politely, occasionally asking questions with genuine interest. "What is this festival you celebrate on Rilna?" one asked. "It is the time of lights," Ziran replied. "We honor ancestors and the cycles of the moons. Songs are sung, stories are told, and we remember the past." The human nodded. "That sounds beautiful. Traditions keep people connected." "I understand." It was a small moment, but it mattered. Trust, once fragile, began to grow. The Zirans realized that humans did not need to understand every ritual or custom. They only needed to respect life and act with purpose. Suddenly, an alarm sounded on the human ship. A blinking red light flashed on the display. "Asteroid cluster detected," the human captain said calmly. "It is moving toward both ships. We must act quickly." Panic could have overtaken the Zirans, but the humans remained calm. "Follow our instructions exactly," the captain said. "We will navigate through this. Together." Every movement was precise. Humans and Xerans worked side by side, adjusting thrusters, recalculating trajectories, and monitoring shields. One Xeran engineer marveled at the speed and efficiency of the humans. "They are not just brave," he whispered. "They are fast thinkers, even under pressure." The asteroid cluster was dangerous, yet the human captain guided both ships with a combination of logic and intuition. Rocks whizzed past, some close enough to feel like they could touch the hull, but shields held, thrusters fired at perfect timing, and the danger passed without a scratch. Breathing heavily, Captain Xyran turned to the human captain. I have never seen such control. How do you do this?" The human smiled gently. "We prepare, we practice, and we act. And we never forget what is at stake. That is all." For the Xerans, it was a revelation. Courage was not just a matter of bravery, it was intelligence, creativity, and unwavering dedication. As the ships drifted back into calm space, the human captain spoke quietly to Xyran. "You may have thought you were alone, drifting in the void. But help can come from unexpected places. And when it does, you must work together, or all is lost." Xyran nodded, deeply aware of the truth in those words. "Your species, it is unlike anything I have known. You do not simply survive, you thrive. You teach others to survive as well." The human's expression softened. "That is the point. Life is precious. Helping others ensures that it continues." Over the next day, the humans completed repairs. Communication systems were restored, allowing the Xyrans to send simple messages to nearby colonies. Engine systems were reinforced, giving the ship power to move independently. Even the cargo hold, damaged in the meteor storm, was patched sufficiently to continue its journey. As the Xerans worked alongside their rescuers, a bond formed. It was quiet at first, a mutual respect. But gradually, humor and curiosity entered conversations. One Xeran engineer made a joke about human clothing, earning a hearty laugh from the humans. Another Xeran officer marveled at the humans' ability to eat, work, and think simultaneously. Vesh felt a growing admiration for the humans. He watched one crew member craft a makeshift tool to fix a cracked panel. "How did you even think of that?" he asked in awe. The human shrugged. "When you face impossible odds, you learn to improvise. Life doesn't wait for perfect conditions." That evening, the Xerans gathered in the observation deck, staring out at the stars. The humans had returned to their ship, monitoring systems and resting in shifts, but their presence was a comfort. Captain Xyran spoke quietly to his crew. "Look at them. They do not fear the unknown. They embrace it. That is why they are here, why we are still alive. We must learn from them. We must change." Vesh nodded. "They are extraordinary. Not just in skill, but in spirit. I think we could survive almost anything if we had them by our side." The silence of space stretched endlessly, but for the first time, it did not feel empty. The human ship, with its calm, steady presence, had shattered the void's isolation. Hope, fragile but real, had returned. And yet, as the Xerans rested, a faint signal blinked on the human ship's radar. Something large and unknown approached a potential threat from the nearby sectors. The humans noticed it immediately, their expressions unreadable but focused. Captain Xyran saw it too. "What is that?" he asked. The human captain's voice was calm, unknown, possibly hostile. "We will monitor it. But do not worry. You are safe for now." Vesh felt a thrill of fear and excitement. Even in danger, the humans remained unshaken. That calm strength, that ability to face the unknown without hesitation, was unlike anything the Xerans had ever seen. The two ships drifted together, side by side, through the endless black of space. For the Xerans, it was a lesson they would never forget. Courage, intelligence, and compassion could shine even in the darkest void. And as stars glimmered on the horizon, Captain Xyran realized something profound. Life in the universe was larger and stranger than he had ever imagined. And humans, Humans were a force unlike any other, capable of turning despair into hope, fear into action, and isolation into unity. The night stretched on, silent except for the hum of machinery. But for the Zirons aboard the Luminara, space no longer felt like a prison. It was a canvas, wide and open, waiting to be explored, and for the first time, they did not feel alone. Somewhere in the darkness, the unknown waited. But with humans nearby, the Zirons were no longer afraid. They had discovered a new truth. Life was worth saving. Courage was worth practicing. And even the void itself could be challenged with intelligence, bravery, and heart. And so, drifting together, the two ships moved forward, ready to face whatever the universe might bring. The faint red blip on the human ship's radar had grown larger and more distinct. Captain Ziran of the Luminara leaned over the console, tension tightening his chest. The unknown object was massive, unlike any ship he had ever seen. Its shape was alien, angular, and clearly built for aggression. "They're coming closer," Lieutenant Vesh whispered, voice tight. What do we do?" The human captain, standing beside him, remained calm. "We prepare," he said simply. "Stay with your crew. Follow instructions exactly. We will get through this." Ziran glanced around at his own crew. Fear lingered in their eyes, but they trusted the humans now. They had seen how humans faced the void, with determination and courage, and so, they nodded, ready to do what was needed. The massive alien ship appeared on the edge of sensors, its engines glowing with harsh red light. It moved deliberately, scanning the area, and then locked onto the two drifting ships. Its weapon systems were visible, and the threat was clear. These were hostile beings, intent on destruction. Captain Ziran swallowed hard. They will not stop. They may not," the human captain replied. "But we will not run. Stand firm. Work with us, and we will survive." The humans moved quickly, issuing clear commands. Shields were reinforced, energy diverted to thrusters, and both ships' defensive systems synchronized. The Zirons followed orders carefully, amazed at the precision of human teamwork. Every movement, every action, was calculated, yet fluid. As the hostile ship closed in, it fired a warning beam across space. The energy passed between the two friendly ships. A show of raw power meant to intimidate. The Zirons flinched, but the humans remained steady. "Focus," the human captain instructed. "We need to move through the asteroid field ahead. It is our only cover. Trust your instincts, and ours." With coordinated effort, the human and Ziran crews activated the thrusters. The two ships navigated through the asteroid field like dancers moving through a crowded hall. Rocks collided and tumbled past, some barely missing the hulls. The aliens pursuing them hesitated for a moment, unable to match the nimble maneuvers. "Keep going," the human captain shouted. "Almost there." Vesh's hands flew over the controls, following every instruction. He had never felt such a rush of fear and excitement together. "We can make it," he shouted to Ziran. Ziran gritted his teeth. "We must, for survival." Using the asteroids as shields, the two ships executed a daring plan. Humans recalculated the positions in real time, while Ziran engineers made quick adjustments to their systems. Energy shields flickered. Thrusters groaned. And for a moment, it seemed impossible. Then, with one final synchronized maneuver, the ships emerged from the asteroid field. The hostile vessel could not follow them without risking collision. And for now, they were safe. The Zirons stared at the humans in awe. How did you think of that?" Vesh asked, still catching his breath. The human captain shrugged. "We assess the situation, we act quickly, and we never give up. That is what allows us to survive. That is what allows us to help others survive as well." Captain Ziran realized that this was not luck, it was intelligence, courage, and unshakable focus. Humans did not just react to danger. They anticipated it, they calculated it, and they overcame it. and in doing so, they brought the Zirans with them. The next few hours passed in tense silence. Both ships repaired minor damage and prepared for any new threat. Humans and Zirans worked together seamlessly. Tasks that had seemed impossible moments ago were completed through cooperation and trust. Then the human captain spoke, voice calm but firm. "This encounter your situation, our intervention, it is more than chance. You must understand something. The universe is vast and often dangerous, but intelligent, courageous species that value life, that act with purpose, can survive. And sometimes, we find each other in the void, not by chance, but by choice." Ziran considered this deeply. He had feared the void, feared isolation, and feared death. But now, he understood something new. Humans did not see the universe as a prison. They saw it as a challenge, a puzzle, a place where life could shine if one had the courage to act. Over the following days, the Zirans learned from the humans in more subtle ways. They observed decision-making, problem-solving, and quick adaptation. They learned how to improvise when materials were limited, how to remain calm when fear threatened, and how to prioritize life above all else. Even simple acts revealed much. One human crew member helped a Ziran child born during the voyage by carefully adjusting the life support system to provide warmth and comfort. The child, frightened at first, soon smiled and reached out for the human's hand. Ziran watched quietly, understanding that this was the essence of courage and compassion. Small acts that saved lives, built trust, and strengthened bonds. As they traveled together through the void, the humans shared stories of their exploration, their encounters, and their philosophy. They spoke of hardship, ingenuity, and survival in countless dangerous regions of space. They spoke not to boast, but to teach. Each lesson was subtle, yet powerful. Ziran realized that humans had a unique gift: the ability to inspire hope and courage in others. They did not rely solely on technology or strength. They relied on intelligence, creativity, and compassion. That combination, he understood, was why they survived when others might fail. Then, another signal appeared on the radar, a small fleet of alien ships approaching from a distant system. Unlike the previous threat, this one was cautious, calculating, and deliberately avoiding detection until now. "They've noticed us," the human captain said. "We must prepare." Ziran's heart raced. "We are not ready for a fight like this." "You do not fight alone," the human replied. "We fight together. You trust us, and we trust you. That is the difference." The Zirans nodded. They had learned patience, discipline, and teamwork in the last few days. They had witnessed the humans' courage and intelligence in action. Now it was their turn to act not out of fear, but with determination and unity. The approaching fleet was powerful, but humans had a plan. Using the Zirans' knowledge of the local asteroid fields and their own advanced tactics, they created decoys, adjusted shields, and prepared for evasive maneuvers. The plan required trust, coordination, and quick thinking from both crews. As the enemy ships closed in, tension was at its peak. Every decision, every movement, could mean survival or destruction. The humans remained calm, issuing orders clearly and confidently. The Zirans followed, adapting quickly to the new strategy. When the alien fleet fired, the humans and Zirans moved in perfect harmony. Decoys drew enemy fire while the ships navigated safely through narrow asteroid channels. Energy shields absorbed blasts, while thrusters guided the ships with precision. The aliens were caught off guard by the speed, ingenuity, and coordination of the two crews. Captain Ziran watched in amazement as humans and Zirans worked together seamlessly. This was courage in action, not reckless bravery, but intelligent, focused determination. Every crew member played a role, and together, they turned what seemed like certain defeat into survival. Finally, after hours of tense maneuvers, the alien fleet retreated. They had underestimated the humans and the Zirans' combined efforts. The void fell silent once more, the danger gone for now. Xiren exhaled, feeling a sense of awe and gratitude he had never known. "We survived," he said, voice shaking slightly. "Because of them. Because of you," the human captain smiled. "No. Because of both of us. Courage is not measured by one species alone. It is measured by unity, by intelligence, and by the willingness to act. Today, we acted together. That is why we survived." For the first time, Xiren truly understood what it meant to admire another species. Humans were not only strong and clever, they were inspiring. They turned despair into hope, fear into action, and isolation into unity. They taught the Xirans something no ritual, lesson, or tradition ever could: that life, courage, and intelligence together could overcome almost anything. In the days that followed, the Xirans repaired their ship fully, guided by human instruction and assistance. Communication systems were enhanced, allowing contact with colonies that had assumed the Luminara was lost forever. Supplies were replenished, engines reinforced, and navigation systems recalibrated. As the two ships prepared to part ways, Xiren approached the human captain. "You have done more than save lives. You have changed us. You have shown us a new way to face the universe." The human captain nodded. "That is all we hope for. Life is worth saving, and courage is worth practicing. Go forward, Xirans. Explore, survive, and remember that you are never truly alone. Help exists even in the darkest places." The Xirans watched as the human ship turned and slowly drifted away, leaving them with a newfound sense of purpose. Captain Xiren felt something he had never felt before: hope, courage, and determination to face whatever challenges awaited them. And so, the Luminara continued its journey through the stars, no longer adrift or alone. The void, once a cold and silent prison, had become a canvas, a place where life could shine, where courage could thrive, and where unlikely alliances could change the fate of entire species. The Xirans would never forget the humans. They had arrived unexpectedly, not seeking glory or reward, but to save lives, inspire hope, and teach the value of courage and unity. And as the stars stretched endlessly before them, Captain Xiren knew this was only the beginning. Humanity had shattered the silence of the void, and in doing so, had shown the Xirans, and perhaps the universe, that life could flourish even in the darkest reaches of space. The universe was vast, it was dangerous, but with courage, intelligence, and heart, anything was possible. And the Xirans would never forget the humans who proved it.